Good instructors across all sports emphasize the idea that the whip is a central component of the swing. The whip form, the whip action, the whip effect. And that's for good reason. Until the 20th century, the whip was the fastest man-made object we had. Now basically, with the hand going less than 10 or 20 miles an hour, the end of the whip can exceed the sound barrier, over 767 miles per hour. So the idea is that we want to try to incorporate this whip effect into our swing, and that's what this next and primary lesson is about. I want to take you into a deeper understanding of this whip effect using something that most of us have experienced, and that's water skiing, either being pulled behind the boat or being in the water ski boat. So in this next segment, I want you to think of an analogy here. I want you to think of this handle as the boat, okay? And the boat is pulling the skier here as the head of the racket, okay? That scenario shown here where the water ski boat is moving straight ahead at 30 miles an hour, and naturally the skier behind is being pulled at 30 miles per hour. So no mystery here, right? But in the next moment, I want to imagine this racket that was traveling in a straight line, this boat that was traveling in a straight line, suddenly turns and slows down. Now you can see something quite different. And that's what we see in this slide. The boat has suddenly turned and slowed down to 15 miles an hour. But the turning motion and the slowing down of the boat has thrown the skier out on the arc and has accelerated the skier to 45 miles an hour. So the boat is only traveling 15 miles an hour at this point, and the skier, due to angular turning momentum, is traveling 3 times that speed at 45 miles an hour. That is the whip effect. Now I want you to watch a Novak Djokovic slow motion forehand video and watch how Djokovic moves the handle of the racket, which is the boat, around the circle, and then as it comes into the turn, there is a turning of the handle backwards as the racket accelerates out and faster through the swing arc. Please note a few things as you watch this Djokovic forehand video play. Note the overall form of the swing. It is a smooth rotational form around the body. There is no linear push of the racket to the target as so many instructors talk about. Secondly, note what seems to be like the pulling action of Djokovic's body to power the swing. We'll be talking about that next. Since this is a slow motion video, you can't see this, but the hand on the racket accelerates at the beginning of the swing, maybe up to 20-25 miles an hour. But as the body pivots into the turn of the swing towards the target, the hand actually slows down while the head of the racket accelerates around the arc. So the hand can be traveling 15 miles an hour at this point, and the racket head can be going 4 times as fast, perhaps 60 miles an hour in this Djokovic rally shot. This speed up of the racket head through contact, the whip effect, is what we're trying to build into our swing. The thing to note about the whip is that it only works with a pulling action, not a pushing or a levering action. So if I try to do something with this in a levering way, a pushing way, you can see there's no speed, there's no momentum, there's no control over the tail of the whip. But now if I change that into a pulling motion like I might have with a Djokovic forehand back like this, all of a sudden you can see that and hear the sound of that whipping action with a nice bending form around it. So here we arrive at the first big secret of the whip swing, is that we need a pulling action to swing it, not a pushing action. So if I take this back in a somewhat Novak Djokovic manner and get into the slot and then I start my swing, all of this I'm pulling with the core of my body, the biggest muscles in my body. I'm pulling this racket handle. I'm not pushing it and levering it. Okay, and then I as my body turns, the racket head lags behind like a whip's tail does. And so I get right about in here where I'm going to deliver the racket into the contact zone. And then I'm going to have even probably a more acute turn of the body. And this is going to shoot the racket through in a blazing speed in a whip-like manner.